The first question that was asked for the social problems and social action video message was based on what you've read in class and researched for your own assignments. Share what you believe to be the 3 social issues Americans face and why. The 3 issues I think Americans face are poverty, education, and institutional discrimination. I think poverty is the most important issue because unless the right measures are put into place to address this issue, there is a high chance that this social issue will carry on into the next generation. So if one's parents either grew up impoverished or are living paycheck to paycheck while raising their children, there is a high chance that generational poverty will happen, or a child of this person will develop bad habits as a result of living in poverty. In simpler terms, if a person is impoverished and does not make a living wage, even if they have a full-time job, they may have to sacrifice the quality of their groceries to make sure that their rent and utilities are paid. So instead of having healthy options, they may have to eat top ramen for 2 weeks just to get by, just to make sure that they have a roof over their head and that they have their basic needs met. Additionally, if they are not able to make ends meet and their job does not pay a living wage, they may face the possibility of becoming homeless, which may cause them to face other factors such as losing their job or not having a roof over their head or not being able to be presentable at work, which would make it difficult to move into a higher socioeconomic class because they are now without shelter and their basic needs being met. The second issue I think Americans face is education. So with students in low-income families or working-class families having a harder time accessing resources that will help them get good grades or get into an institution of higher education, as well as the federal government and state of Nevada lowering graduation standards, high school students are being left unprepared for their future regardless of the path they choose. And then the third issue I think Americans face is institutional discrimination from a socioeconomic standpoint and from a just racial and ethnic standpoint. So if a person is from a specific socioeconomic class, if they're working class or I would say lower class, once they get into college or trade school, they may have trouble kind of keeping up with the homework or their classmates just because they may have had a different experience or they may not have had the same exposure to resources. With that, from personal experience, I grew up impoverished, so by being a student, even if it's at a community college, I've had points where I've had to seek tutoring from YouTube about math because I wasn't able to obtain tutoring in high school, or I forgot something, or I've had to work full-time and haven't had time to visit the tutoring center on campus, which kind of puts me at a disadvantage. Additionally, I think first-generation students have a harder time learning where they fit when it comes to college just because they are the first in their family to go to school, so it's kind of a trial and error, which may be a reason why it may take them a little bit longer to finish an associate's or a bachelor's degree because they have to start and stop, and they may not necessarily know what they're doing, or there may not be resources on campus to help them. From a racial and ethnicity or ethnic point of view, if someone is a minority and they go into a field or a field of study that happens to not have a lot of people of color or people from their background, there is a high possibility that they may feel imposter syndrome, or they may face obstacles when trying to move up in their field or feel like they don't belong. The second question was, how can social media be a vehicle for social change? The first way that social media can be a vehicle for social change is by spreading a movement through out social media platforms. So if a person posts a video of their experience and shares it with a meaningful hashtag, this could inspire 5 people or 10 people or 20 people. And then just by the rate that social media kind of shares information, it could increase by tenfold within 30 minutes or by the thousands within a night. And a movement could be created from a single post instantaneously. Basically, if you look at it from how quickly information spreads through Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat. The second way that social media can be a vehicle for social change is that grassroots organizing can happen through social media. So if marches for gun control or women's rights or reproductive rights are set up in major cities, events can be set up through Facebook just by someone posting something, and as long as there is a location and a time and all the logistics are taken care of, people can meet up and protest for a specific social issue. Additionally, people could also share videos of the protests on Twitter and Facebook and help spread the word about what they're seeing. So if the news isn't reporting it, people are taking over that area of focus and reporting it themselves. And then the last question is, what is an example of a social action which used social media to share its message / receive national attention? Why was it so successful? And the example that I thought of was the Me Too movement. So from research, I saw that Alyssa Milano posted a tweet about retweet if you've ever experienced sexual harassment or sexual assault. You don't have to explain it. You just post #MeToo. So by Alyssa Milano sharing this, or by a woman experiencing her experience about a sexual assault she endured, men and women have the courage to share their experiences of being sexually assaulted or sexually harassed. What started out as a small movement expanded over to Hollywood and over to our political sphere and forced these assaulters or these abusers of power to be held accountable for their actions. So with Harvey Weinstein or Louis C.K., after women and men came forward and stated that Harvey exposed himself to me in a closed room and I felt uncomfortable, but I felt like I couldn't come forward. By this, I'm going to say bubble being created, people were able to kind of come forward and say that, hey, I'm willing to stick my neck out because other people have said that they've either been sexually assaulted on campus or their boss exposed themselves to them or someone put them in a dangerous position at a club. And if they're willing to come forward and say, me too, then so am I, because I feel like it'll make a difference. This movement was so successful because I think there was a sense of camaraderie. I think that people saw that everyone from a different walk of life, whether men or women or of any gender, experienced this, and they saw that this has happened to other people, and while it may not be okay, it is okay to come forward and voice and say that my abusers should be held accountable for their actions because what they did was not okay, and I want to see something happen as a result of it. And even if something doesn't happen, at least other people have dealt with this as well. Those are all the answers. Okay.